Hey guys, Gaming Off the Grid here. Thanks to Strictly Limited Games, the lost run-and-gun game of the 90s, Ultracore, has finally arrived in physical form. We just took this game down and they're here to offer up our full review on this Sega Genesis game that never was. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking What Evil Lurks by Adroit Theory. It's an imperial stout brewed with coffee, marshmallows, coconuts, and cinnamon.
Sounds delicious. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss an upload. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and welcome to the full review of Ultracore.
Hey everybody, Kevin out here, and I want you to sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and enjoy this episode of Gaming Off the Grid.
Alright, here we go. We may be walking with a limp because Ultracore just kicked our ass for about probably 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah, but we beat it, and now we're here to talk about it because this game is incredible. So first off, what is Ultracore?
So this game was originally supposed to be released on the Amiga, the Sega Genesis, and I believe Sega CD back in 1994, but it was scrapped by the developers. This game was developed by Digital Illusions, which isn't even its own thing anymore. I believe it was sold to EA at some point in the early aughts.
Yeah, I think EA bought them out. This game was originally called Hardcore, but then they changed it to Ultracore, and I like Ultracore better. It just feels more ultra. And this is just a straightforward run-and-gun platforming game, and it is so freaking sweet.
Yeah, you know, I figured most retro gamers had heard of this game. I mean, this game has always kind of had that folklore around it, like the game that never got released on the Genesis type of thing. But, you know, we've shot out a few polos and messages to some of our friends like, hey, we finally got this, and a few people were like, oh man, never heard of it. So we're like, you know what, we're gonna beat this thing, we're gonna do a full review on it. This game was recently made available on the Mega SG as well. It's like the pack-in game on the console.
Yes, but it's only digital, you know, so but it's cool it's on there.
Absolutely. And then Strictly Limited Games brought it to physical form, and you can get a physical copy, or you could anyways, on the Nintendo Switch, the PS4. They also had some collector's editions, and they actually made it on a Sega Genesis cartridge.
Which is awesome, and then they made it for the Vita. What's crazy is this was released and announced in 2019, like the early part of 2019, and we just now got it. So that's almost a year.
That's kind of the problem with some of those like limited runs, Strictly Limited.
This was way worth the wait. And there wasn't that many made. I think there was like 3,000 made on the Switch. There was only 999 made for the actual Sega Genesis, which is crazy they actually did that.
The Genesis version or Mega Drive version you can still get on PlayAsia for a reasonable price, I believe. Yeah, and it's got the Japanese cover, I believe. But as far as the stuff at Strictly Limited, it's gone.
It's gone.
I think you can get it, most of it on eBay-ish, around, you know, 50, 60, 70 bucks if you still want to get that physical copy. Otherwise, hit them up at conventions. But anyways, let's roll into the game. Overall, what did you think of Ultracore? Because we put a lot of time into this.
Yes, we did. It kind of stole our entire weekend. So we put it in when we first got it. I was like, oh sweet, a new run and gun game. I love platformers. I love run and gun games. I was excited, but I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, okay, we'll play it for an hour, move on. This game stole the freaking weekend. I was blown away. I did not expect to love it as much as I did. And at first, you're like, oh, this game's kind of easy. This game's kind of fun. It's like, oh, you're learning the mechanics. There's different guns you can get, blah, 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 blah. And then towards like the last quarter of the game, it got way hard. It was like, man, I kind of just want to start over now that I know what I'm doing to build myself back up, because there's save states, kind of. There's passwords. So once you beat 2 levels, you get a password, and that password is specific to your game file. So if you end the level with 1 life and 0 continues, you start the next chapter, and we screwed ourselves, but we beat it finally, and man, this game is so incredible, but so hard.
It is fantastic, and there is no rewind feature. There's no save states. You know, it's a retro game through and through, and it's very, very difficult. Very much in the realm, like I would say, if you're a fan of Contra, Metroidvania games, Power Blade.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of Mega Man too.
Yeah. Especially the boss fights.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Metroidvania aspect, I would say, isn't full-on Metroidvania, but you do have to kind of bob and weave, and there's like various paths. You know, there can be a secret door, and if you go in it, you can come out. Otherwise, if you go in the door that progresses the path, it seals behind you, so you can't go back.
Yes. So when you play this game, you got to make sure you explore, because there's extra lives. There's different weapons. There's a weapon that we never found.
Yeah.
Which which sucks because it was like, dude,
I think
where
it was like
was
the
it?
second to best gun in the
I
game.
know.
Yeah.
And then there's lives everywhere, and at the end of the level when it gives you the passcode, it says like how many things you missed, and it's like, dude, there was 8 lives we missed. Where were they?
Just the kick in the nuts. And the lives are kind of cool, the extra lives. It's like a little action figure of the
really
guy,
cool.
and you pick them up. But there's also hidden things in the ceilings. There's just a lot of things. One major tip I would offer folks is, one, explore. Make sure you're getting all the things. Get all the coins, because it is going to become very useful to you in the back end of the game. Also, save your ammo.
Yes.
The main machine gun, when it's powered up, it's really good. But every other specialty gun uses your ammo, and you're going to need that on boss fights. The other thing I would say is there are these little banks, basically, or a store you'll go to, and you can get bombs, ammo,
and life.
or life. And it appears when you're doing the life, it just moves up your energy bar. If you cycle that through, it actually gives you an extra life.
And we didn't realize that till the end of the game. And we were like, dude, what?
Yeah, last couple levels we figured that out. The main thing is blow your coins when you can on lives. You just need
as many lives as possible. What's crazy about this game is it's hard, but it is so fair. Like when we died, it was like,
yeah, I shit the bed.
Yeah, I messed up. Or like the platforming was just really tough, but it's possible.
Yep.
So one thing about this game, going back to the platforming at certain parts is really tough. The timing is so
razor thin.
Yeah, you have to be like some of the jumps. You have to be right on the edge of the platform.
Yep.
It's kind of a learning curve because like some of the platforms, you have to get like a bounce on them. It's not how you think it is. So you get a boom, and it's like weird, but it's part of the charm, and I like how it's different, and you gotta learn, you know?
You know, and the sprite work in this game, you know, the graphics, they're just excellent. When he jumps and bounces, his little hair kind of flops, and it's just through and through. This game, I knew I wanted to play this game, and I was going to wait for it to get a physical at some point. I did not know that I would love this game. This game, I will play it again. We will probably beat it on a live stream again.
Yes.
This is a game that I just want to keep playing and keep
get
perfecting.
better at it. Now that we beat it, I'm like, dude, we know what we're doing now. Let's go back. Another thing I want to say about this game is the music and the sound effects are incredible. The music reminded me a lot of Axiom Verge, like that soundtrack, and that's one of our favorite soundtracks. The soundtrack of this game just fits the mood. It's just awesome. And then like when you go to a different level, it shifts, or like a boss fight, it shifts. The music's so great, and then the sound effects are simple but perfect. Man, this game is almost perfect. Like, it is so good.
If you're a run and gun fan, this is a must-play game. If you like shooters, side-scrolling shooters, it's weird to say this, but if you like a lot of things going on the screen, this game is for you, because your gun, you get, I believe, I didn't count them, but I think you've got 12 to 16 gun positions on each side. Basically, you can just fan your gun, take out all these enemies, and there becomes these hordes of enemies to take out.
There's some levels where it's just like they're coming from both sides, and you're like, ah.
And we didn't ever encounter much slowdown. There was a couple spots that did get a little bit of that, you know, 16-bit era slowdown, but for the most part, this game runs very, very smooth. Overall, I could not be happier with our purchase. I would pay almost any price for a copy of this game. I really, really like this game.
I'm so glad we have it on physical. I'm so glad we got it.
You know, this game just really feels like one of those late in the life cycle 16-bit era games. It really does, where they had the technology perfected for the Genesis, and they rocked the music perfect, the graphics perfect, the controls perfect. I cannot say enough good things about this game. I don't know what else to say about it. I think it's a game that everybody needs to play.
Yeah, this is excellent.
It's up to you to read your own mail if you have to have a physical copy or not. But the main thing that I would say, you need to play this game.
Yeah, you need to find a way to play it. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just badass. It's a badass freaking video game.
It's one of those games, when you beat it, you stand up and you're like, yeah, let's go. It makes you feel like a badass.
Especially when you spend freaking 8 hours playing the last level over and over and over. Going back to that, spoiler alert, so it gives you passwords. The last part of the game, it's like 2.5 levels. They don't give you a password, so if you die, you start all the way over, and it's like a good 30 to 40 minute grind to get to the boss. And there's like multiple bosses leading up to it. It is brutal, but once you beat it, way worth it.
Full endorsement for Ultracore.
Yeah,
graphics
so incredible.
Excellent, sound excellent, controls excellent, the nostalgia excellent. It's just an excellent run and gun shooter.
Speaking of excellent, let's talk about this beer.
BK mailed us this beer. He's a good friend of the channel, good friend of ours. We talked to him on the daily, and he has a way of finding beers that I've A, never heard of, and B, that are fantastic.
Yeah,
and
I don't know how he does it.
Did not disappoint. This beer, an Imperial Stout that tastes like a dessert, and I'm almost going to go out on a limb and say like bread pudding.
Yes, it has a very sweet...
It's so good.
It's so good. So I'm going to read you exactly what it says on the bottle. This is an imperial stout with Mostra coffee, toasted coconut, toasted marshmallow, and Saigon cinnamon. Wow.
The way that marshmallow and coconut work together, the sweetness.
Oh, those are the two flavors that are coming out the most.
And it's got like that like cinnamon and sugar. It really, like for me, the beer is still pretty malty. Not getting any alcohol burn whatsoever. I really, it tastes like a really fine dessert. Like bread pudding is what comes to mind. Like it has that. There's almost like a raisiny component almost as well.
It's so smooth. And like the cinnamon, I can kind of taste like a sweet spice, and that's the cinnamon coming through. If you were to give this to me, I don't think I could tell that this was an imperial stout because of how smooth and how flavorful it is. Man, this is incredible, and this has been an incredible year for beer already, and I'm scared.
Yeah, we're already, you know, we've had at least 2 to 3 beer of the year worthy type of beers, and we're just getting started.
Beer of the year, this game's already in my discussion for game of the year.
Yeah, it's tough
even
because
though it came out in 2019, you know.
Yeah, but we just now got it in the mail, and you know, you never know when you're going to get that stuff in the mail. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you've probably heard us talk about how rigorous our schedule is for uploads and blah blah blah. We got this in the mail Friday. We literally have been just jonesing over it, and now we're filming this weekend to bring this episode to you on a Monday.
Yes.
Everything else got
pushed away.
So if we miss some comments, we'll get back to you, but we've been busy. But nonetheless, you need to find a way to play Ultracore. It is that lost game that never was on the Sega Genesis, and damn, I really wish it would have came out in the day, but something about it maybe has a little more luster and actually just feels a little bit better to get your hands on it in 2020.
Yeah, I kind of like how maybe it didn't come out back in the day because it might have got washed over or forgotten about because it would have came out at the end of the cycle.
Might have got the Power Blade 2 treatment.
Yeah, and that game's incredible. Yeah. Maybe we do a review on that next.
Yeah. Well, you guys know the drill. We always appreciate you tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Keep gaming, keep drinking. We'll see you next time right here on Gaming Off the Grid.
When you play this game, you're gonna When you play this game, you're gonna when you play this game, you're gonna make sure you wanna
and sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's see what. What?
Let's see what's this. Snack that smiles back. Ultracore. And orange juice does not taste good coming back up.
No, never has, dude.
It's so good going in. I love a good OJ. Simpson. Trail.
Yeah, so do I. That was when I was in 3rd grade.
You remember it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think it was before my time.